please welcome Lamorne Morris.
Oh, hey. Oh, hey. How you doing? How you folks doing?
Lamorne, I was so excited to talk to you because you are from Chicago, and they surprised everybody with dyeing the river green.
Yes, 100%. That is a good old-fashioned Chicago tradition, which I don't agree with, to be quite honest with you. People jump in there. People may or may not drink the water. And I'll be quite honest, I'm not sure if it's sanitary enough for me to put my body inside of it. You know what I mean? It might actually be booze in the water. And I think that's when you see people raging in the street. That's usually what happens. People are raging in the streets.
You know, they're raging here in New York, too. There's like people wasted at 8:45 in the morning. It's fantastic.
That's just New York. You know?
I wanted to ask you about, because I have young kids in school right now, and then they're in homeschool, and I'm just going to be super honest, we're all struggling really bad. And I was really affected by the story. You had two different teachers who encouraged you with comedy in Chicago. Will you please tell me those stories? Because as a parent, I'm like, I loved these, and it meant a lot to me because we really need our teachers.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, in high school, like most kids, I didn't want to be there. Not at all. My imagination was all over the place. I was telling jokes. I was kind of, you know, I didn't know where my outlet was necessarily. You know, I was in math class, you know, of all classes, and my teacher, Bob Dobez, he really encouraged my behavior, if you will, by allowing me to get 5 minutes before class. I would talk, I would make jokes. I mean, another buddy sometimes, Chris Page, and I remember we would just kind of go back and forth. And the trick in his class was to always talk about baseball because his son played baseball. So we figured if we could have enough jokes about baseball or talk to him about baseball long enough, in 45 minutes, the period would be over. And we didn't really learn a thing. And we'd be like, great. And then we'd be on to the next subject. Yeah. So he definitely encouraged it. However, it was always followed by, also, Lamorne, after your 5 minutes, you got to go to detention.
Right, exactly.
You know, so the detention instructor gave me a pamphlet to a place called Second City and said, you know, you need an outlet for all this energy. Have you thought about doing comedy for a living? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what doing comedy for a living was. You know, I'm from Chicago, so you kind of, you know, didn't have a lot of those examples right in front of you, you know. So Second City happened to be the place where I kind of began my career.
And Lamorne, will you mention just a few alumni from Second City for everyone watching?
I mean, you got Amy Poehler is you know. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You've got Tony O'Brien.
It's one of the most important comedic institutions that we have in our country. There's the Groundlings, there's Second City. These are the places where UCB, all of your favorite comedians really come from and get their start together.
And it goes way back, too. It goes way back.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Belushi, Chris Farley. Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful to that teacher. And Lamorne, in Women's History Month, your mom worked for the USPS for how many years, Lamorne?
Oh, almost 40 years. Almost 40 years. She's the most fantastic person that I've ever met in my entire life. That's where I get everything that you see from. I get my energy from my mother. She studied theater back in the day. Whenever I'm sending a package somewhere, you know, she would give me a side eye if it's not, you know, United States Postal Service. If I'm sending FedEx, she got beef. You know, she got a real problem with me.
Well, please tell your mom that we have a recurring segment on this show called Dear Drew that's all about the love of the USPS and snail mail, please.
Oh, very, very nice. Oh, she'll love it.
And Lamorne, you have so many things going on. Everybody loves you from your longevity run on the hit show New Girl. And then you do this show called Woke on Hulu. I was fortunate enough to watch it. It's incredible. Oh, will you tell us about that show? Because I would love to hear it described in your words.
Well, Woke is about a cartoonist who's kind of on the brink of success, but like a lot of people, reality smacks him in the face. And in his case, reality comes in the form of a little bit of brutality, a little bit of, he got roughed up by the police, I'll just say. And he's suffering a little PTSD from it. So it's kind of about this guy's journey from being just the kind of run-of-the-mill cartoonist to a outspoken activist, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's so incredible, your show, and I'm so congratulations on it getting picked up for a season 2.
Oh, thank you.
By the way, speaking of your #1 in the country podcast, hang on, because we have a new graphic for you, and I'm really excited. Lamorne, you're the first person we're doing this, but will you break down your #1 in the country podcast on something we're calling The Download? Tell us about UnWanted, which you created.
So UnWanted is an action comedy. It's an action comedy that you can listen to in your ear holes, and it is one of the greatest homages to the films that I love the most from the 80s. And it's about two guys on a mission trying to catch the most dangerous woman on the planet. But what they don't know is that they're way in over their heads. And she makes life a living hell for these two, all while they're trying to cash in on this $1 million reward. So I'm excited. I'm excited for folks to listen to it.
I have to say, there is so much sound editing and effects, and you really fill out the whole world. And it feels like a very rich and full, elaborate world that you get enveloped by.
It kind of takes us back to those days where families would get around the radio and listen to stories. And back then, folks didn't know if an alien invasion was really happening or not. So this is a kind of a way to immerse yourself into a feature film or a television show, all while keeping your eyes on the road or doing something around the house. It's great.
I see why it's #1. It is completely different.